What's going on, everybody? Brad here, just for a little bit of a preamble because I forgot to record something in the intro and I wanted you all to hear it here first. But if you have thoughts and feelings on the trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth and the direction of this movie, whether you love it or you don't, please let us know. We're going to be including a bunch of thoughts and feelings in an upcoming episode. And if you want yours heard, you can do so by going ahead and leaving us a voicemail over on our voicemail line, 732-825-7763. Just go ahead and leave us a message. I think they're about 3 minutes long or so, just as a heads up. And if you don't want to do that, you can actually just go ahead and record a voice memo on your phone. You know, you got that little app on there, hit record, and send it over via email to JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. You can also write something if you want, whether it's the email or to our JurassicParkPodcast.com contact form. You can do that as well. We'd prefer the voice memos so we can get your thoughts and feelings on the show directly with your voice so everybody can hear it and yourself. So you can have a podcast episode that you're devoted to. So please go and do so. Like I said, email JurassicParkPod@gmail.com with those voice memos, or you can call our voicemail line 732-825-7763. Let us know, what did you think about the trailer? Was it everything you hoped for? Was it everything you dreamed about? Did it let you down? Did you have a great time with it? Let me know in your voice memos, and we will put them on an upcoming episode. Thank you so much, everybody. Now let's go ahead and kick off the show.
Are you hearing this?
Anybody hear that?
How can we possibly have the slightest idea what to expect?
Well, we're back.
Hold on to your butts.
Welcome to the Jurassic Park Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Jost, and we're here to discuss all things Jurassic, including the movies, TV shows, music, toys, and more. In episode 405, Tom Jurassic joins me to fully divulge all the details that we found in the trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth. We recorded this episode directly after the trailer was released, and we had an absolute blast doing so. I'm so glad and grateful that I get to do that stuff with Tom. But this is it, folks. We're fully in it. This is the time and the moment we've been waiting for. So please, let's enjoy the ride. I am ready to hype up this trailer and this film. And if you missed out on any of the fun that we were having over here last week, I released a newsletter just before the trailer released about the before and the after. It's kind of this term thing. We always talked about the after over on the Jurassic mailbag. So I talked a little bit about that when it comes to films being released and trailers and whatnot. So go check that out. Me and Jennifer Evans always talked about that on the mailbag. It was such a blast. But go check out the newsletter. I also released 2 bonus episodes last week. One about the Vanity Fair article by Anthony Bresnikan, which featured a ton of details about Jurassic World Rebirth. And then, of course, I did a full kind of breakdown reactions to the trailer on the podcast feed, but also I did my live reactions, which you can see me watch the trailer for the first time over on our socials and on YouTube, so go check those out. And it was just a huge week, and certainly the fun is not over yet. It's continuing here today with Tom. But of course, while you're listening to this episode, you can hit us up on Blue Sky to continue the conversation. And as always, please check out our live streams over. Oh yeah, forgot about that. Kind of blocked that one out from my memory. We also did a live stream that was over on YouTube. Go check out the live stream last week. It was an interesting one. We had myself, we had Jay Jurassic, and of course we had Aaron Beyer. And let's just say, not everybody agreed on the trailer and the franchise and where we're headed. So there may have been some arguments and some other moments. So please go check out that live stream and let me know what you think. But like I was saying, please check out our live streams Wednesday nights on YouTube discussing all the Jurassic news from around the world. And please be sure to subscribe to my newsletter, which I mentioned earlier, for all things Jurassic, movies, TV shows, podcasts, and everything, other thoughts and appearances, whatever it may be. You can find the link to the newsletter on JurassicParkPodcast.com/newsletter. But it is time, so let's go ahead and dive into the conversation with myself and Tom Jurassic as we discuss the trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth.
Dr. Henry Loomis, this is Zora Bennett, our mission specialist.
Sorry, what mission?
This would be a medical breakthrough that could save countless lives. It comes from the largest dinosaurs on the planet.
Oh my God.
Fortunately for us, all these species exist in one isolated place. Can you be ready tomorrow?
I can guarantee your safety. I mean, more or less.
More or less?
He's your guy?
We're the best at moving things and people in and out of places they shouldn't be.
Move up towards Barbados, avoid government patrol, but there aren't that many anymore.
Why's that?
No one's dumb enough to go where we're going.
This island was the research facility for the original Jurassic Park.
We need DNA from the 3 biggest dinosaurs.
Do we have to get a sample from an egg?
I suppose we could try and get it from the parent, but they're a flying carnivore the size of an F-16.
Maybe we should make it quick.
These dinosaurs were too dangerous for the original park.
Please don't say they're raptors. They're raptors.
The worst of the worst were left here.
Come on! Duncan!
We put ourselves in a place we don't belong. Survival is a long shot.
What the hell are those?
They're helping the mosasaur defend territory, stalk, hunt.
None of what you just said is good.
I was going to ask if I can take the helm once you've done the introduction, because I've got the trailer open and I'm quite happy with doing like a shot-by-shot discussion of the different scenes.
Hey, man, there's no introduction. It's up to you, man. Go ahead. You got it. Go. The floor is yours.
Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Jurassic Park Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Jost. No, I've messed it up already.
Oh, Tom. Fired already.
That was deliberate. So we are here for a very special reason. What has happened, Brad?
Well, a lot of stuff. My kids have been sick a bunch recently. They've gotten into Taekwondo and no. Oh, you mean Jurassic wise? Oh yeah, no.
Yes.
There's a trailer to discuss.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll get into the play-by-play in a minute and kind of talk about some of the details in it. But what are your initial thoughts with this trailer?
Oh, dude. I mean, I was extremely excited watching the trailer. You can watch my reactions online, and so I was pretty hyped. And by the end of it, still very hyped. I think the visuals are incredible. The acting looks really good. The writing looks fine as far as I can tell. I liked some of the jokes and things that were in there and the way the characters were portrayed. Visually, like I said, stunning. The dinosaurs look incredible. I think we're going to have to tackle with the fact that like all these dinosaurs look incredibly different than they have ever looked before.
Yeah.
And of course we have an alien to deal with, basically.
Yes.
Some sort of alien type creature that looks, it's not, I know it's not an alien, but like it just looks so foreign to what Jurassic has done, even outside of things like the Scorpius Rex, the Indominus Rex, and the Indoraptor. So we're gonna have to like get ourselves warmed up for things like that. So I think there's a lot of this story that's gonna be. We're gonna have to find ourselves like how are we gonna accept these ideas and whatever's going on here, and we'll talk about it a lot. But overall, general consensus, I'm hyped. It looks good, and it looks like a trailer that will capture. A lot of people. It looks, when I watch the trailer, I'm like, people are going to be hyped for this. I think that's the vibe I'm getting. I don't know. Like general audiences, I mean, maybe not Jurassic fans specifically, but general audiences, I think will look at this trailer and be like, we need to see that movie,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely fair. I think the general reaction seems a bit mixed with Jurassic fans. I think naturally there's a lot of stuff that this is doing that it has to be very delicate with to not massively upset the lore of the films. Now, David Koepp has said that he has set himself some golden rules. One of those is about preserving the lore of the films. But as we know, preserving the lore of the films and actually contradicting things sometimes goes hand in hand and becomes the same thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, I think. But I mean, right off the bat, as we open the trailer, we quite clearly get a callback to the first Jurassic Park, which is in the museum scene where Zora and Martin Krebs are recruiting Dr. Henry Loomis. You've got it. There we go. Perfect. And this is, I think, quite interesting because we have some additional context around this scene, right? So we have... Are we gonna... Oh, I was gonna say, if we're doing a playthrough first, that's fine.
No. No, I was just letting it play.
So we have some additional context around this scene, which I think is quite interesting, and it's leading some credence to a theory online at the moment, which is the fact that when they were filming this is the scene that was filmed in the Painterly Hall in Greenwich in the UK. So it's quite an ornate building, as you can see. And there were props on that location in the public areas, so they're out there on like news outlets and whatnot that were taking photos of the filming at the time of different dinosaur skeletons being delivered from the museum. I think there was like a Gallimimus and a Velociraptor, and then obviously in the trailer we see the Tyrannosaurus Rex. So a lot of people already with that banner are questioning whether this could be Rexy and whether actually we're going to open with the idea that some of these dinosaurs that we have known have died since we've seen them last, which I think is possible because it would set quite a somber tone right off the bat, right? If these animals are not as... they're not surviving as well as they have been in other climates and they're slowly migrating, it makes sense that some of them are going to die. And it does seem very on the nose that this T-Rex skeleton has the same banner from the visitor center, unless there was something in the exhibit about it being the first T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
I don't think I want to get into that. Like, or we can get into it, but I just don't think I jive with that theory whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't feel like that's the case. Maybe it is, but it just feels like, flashbacks to Twitter and the social team saying that this is the Spinosaurus from JP3. And I'm like, no, come on. I don't know. I mean, look, I'm no fossils, expert or skeleton expert or anything, but it doesn't look like it was just like a fresh, like, how would that work? Like, so this dinosaur died in the past 5 years or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And now it's a skeleton completely? I don't know. It just doesn't jive with me. So I don't think that's accurate.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But what do you think of this recruitment scene more broadly? So we get the outline from Krebs here that they're going on the mission to get drugs from animals that have life-saving qualities. We know from the Vanity Fair article that that is for heart disease. So they're getting a kind of cure for heart disease. And there's the whole pitch of Loomis not really wanting to go on this mission, but Zora being the facilitator and the bodyguard for the operation. Is that kind of what you expected?
Yeah, I think everything played out like pretty much exactly as I expected in this scene. Outside of the fact that they're like, hey, we got to go like tomorrow or whatever they said. So that was kind of unexpected, but
because there's a volcano that's going to erupt.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is, I said it before, but I never really expected what's his name to go on this mission. What's
Martin
his name?
Krebs.
Martin Krebs. Yeah, I was recording something and I was like, what's his name? Rupert Friend's name? And I'm like, I don't know. I forget. Whatever. But Martin Krebs, I didn't expect him to be on this mission initially, but then we saw pictures of it and I was like, oh, okay, so this is a different vibe. And I still watch this trailer and I'm like, okay, what's the angle? I still don't know what his angle is. Everything seems like perfectly fine, so I just don't really know what his angle is here. But yeah, I was sad when I was reading, the Vanity Fair thing saying that like, oh, this stuff is getting taken down. Like this is the end of an era, right? And this is like, we don't need, which is weird. I kind of don't like the fact that it's just, again, people don't care about dinosaurs anymore. That's a little weird take. And I think the Vanity Fair article was like, well, David Koepp came up with this great idea about the people don't think that they don't care about dinosaurs anymore. I'm like, that's literally what Jurassic World was. That was the entire premise. That was the entire premise. So that's a weird place to start from. But if this is, I feel like I read somewhere in there that this is like the opening of the film or something like that. So I don't know if it's like, I don't know if it doesn't look like an opening minutes of the film, but like maybe the opening 10,
so the
15 minutes.
The thing that's worth to note is that Krebs and Zora are wearing the same outfits that they were wearing when they were filming in New York. So it's clear that those two scenes are going to be connected. So whatever happens, I think that whatever they see in New York and then whatever happens here is going to be how the film opens.
Is there a chance this is just New York and it's just subbing for New York?
So yes, it is New York because the signs for the fossils were from the New York Museum of Natural History.
Oh, okay.
So that's what this building is meant to be.
I have pictures from there. Why didn't they just film there? I've got myself standing in there with a Jurassic Park shirt. Doesn't look anything like this.
Why didn't I just get you to film, right?
yeah. Come on. Everybody's like, yo, call your boy. Steve is out there like saying that. So call me up, Universal. I'll give you some hints on what it looks like. I'll take you on a tour. And specifically, last time I was there, I saw a Titanosaur in that museum, which was very cool.
Yeah. So that was very good timing, Brad, because I would like to move us straight forward now to that scene with Titanosaur.
Yeah. I just look at
this. Sorry, I love how we're doing this.
I was looking at the different the dinosaurs in the back of that museum. There's what seems to be like a raptor-sized dinosaur. There's like a Triceratops-looking skull and stuff. So there's a lot of different things in there. So I don't think it's just like here's the sick Triceratops. Here's the the big one from Jurassic Park. I don't think that's going to be the case. Yeah. We have 3 skeletons from velociraptors that died on Main Street. That's just like I don't know. That's weird. Like I think going back to what you were saying before we jump ahead again. There was in that article it mentioned like people don't care about like museums and fossils and stuff like that. And I think like that signals to me that like this is just old stuff that people don't care about anymore, And who said it? Wasn't that said in Jurassic World Dominion, like at the dig site with Grant?
I think so.
Didn't somebody say something along those lines? That girl,
the girl's on the phone.
Yeah. So anyway, but moving forward.
So yes, bring us. I want you to freeze it, Brad, right on the shot with both.
I know the shot. Of course, I know what you're talking about. Let's get a
Hell
nice boom. There it is. Let's get the play button out of there.
Honestly, I just think like looking at this shot, and I've got it open on my screen as well in a wider screen so I can see it. I just think it's such a break from the cinematography in terms of Jurassic World's 3 films, in the sense that it really gives us a sense of scale. And what I mean by that is the fact that you have these titanosaurs in a valley. I will say it's not confirmed to be Titanosaur, but we're pretty confident it's Titanosaur. And you can just see this valley going for miles and miles behind them to really give this sense of scale. And I tell you what, when I first watched this and throughout this trailer, my mind the whole time was thinking, wow, this really reminds me of Kong Skull Island. And the thing I really love about Skull Island is the fact that island feels like it has a functional ecosystem in that film. Like you really get a feeling for the fauna in that island. And this kind of just gives me that vibe. I think it's interesting as well, right, that the whip tails are not really something we've seen before. So that feels quite unique for these animals.
Yeah, 100%. And the little sails, on them too.
Yeah.
They look, super unique for these creatures. And, we've seen them before in different things, but I don't think they ever showed up in a Jurassic movie. So that's really cool to see. And yeah, those tails are awesome. Like they said this is an Indiana Jones movie. I didn't know they meant this. That's the whip tails.
It's the whip, yeah.
But you mentioned the valley and everything like that, and Kong Skull Island. Like that's the vibe I was getting the entire time. And though Gareth Edwards didn't direct that movie, he helped build that cinematic universe. It's giving me so much of the vibe. And when you watch Kong Skull Island, it's like it feels like Nublar in a way. Like it feels like a Jurassic location because they did film it there. But then there was other spots that were, I don't know if they actually filmed in like Thailand, but maybe they did. You would probably know better. But so the iconography looks exactly the same. Like it looks like those really tall peaks and misty and surrounded by water and all that stuff. But then also like the typical Jurassic like Gallimimus Valley, that you would see in Kong. Those felt the same. And that's what I'm getting here. And I think every vista that you see in this trailer is incredibly impressive and super realistic. Now, a lot of this, sure, is probably CG background to some extent, but it just looks so real. And I think I was talking about it on I was talking about it on my little breakdown that I released. That I think when Jurassic World did like CG backgrounds and everything, it was about we have to capture this full theme park. Like so, you need to see the theme park elements. So when you look at it, you're like, wow, that's impressive. But like, in your head that like, it doesn't exist. So therefore it's fake.
Yeah.
But when you look at this, I don't know, that place could exist. That looks real to me. That looks like, cause there's nothing infringing on it. There's no visitor center. There's no Main Street or anything like that. It's just pure, like
it's just a natural
cinematic
location.
Natural location. Yeah. It's incredible looking. And I think, I predicted that it would be these creatures like the long necks in the field. And that's exactly what happened. And behind them, it seems like we're going to have that Ket's place, temple thing. So
do you want to take us forward slightly? Because there is a shot of Ket's immediately after this as well.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was a Ketz or not. I don't know, but yeah, man, that scene, like this shot again, like every shot of like the island or wherever we are is incredible. Yeah. Like the tone, the mist, the vibes, like everything. It's giving me such good vibes here. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from the island, and I think I said it at one point or another. I say that a lot. I say like, I think I said this because guess what? I talk too much. And I said that the island itself was like a character in the first, like at least the first two movies. Like the island itself was like a major player. And I think that's what's going to happen here. Whatever place this is, it's a major player.
There's so much character and texture to it. You're absolutely right. Can you bring us forward to the Universal logo?
Ah, the logo itself. Yes, we'll get there.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is, but there it is.
So that's just more of the setup, and then you can see they've even gone as far as revamping the whole logo for this, which I think is really just a statement piece from Universal, right? Saying this isn't going to be a one and done by any stretch. This is them setting the table to do more Jurassic for us.
Yeah, I imagine. I mean, it could just be a one-off, but it is giving that Rebirth vibe, right? It's the same. Like if you just sub the Universal and put in like the Jurassic World Rebirth, and then the circle is the same with the dinosaur, and it's got the sun like the dawn behind there. So it's a very cool look, and I love it when they do like stuff like that. When they did it for Battle at Big Rock and stuff, when they change the logos up, I really dig that.
I think that's cool. I'm going to get you to bring us forward to the frame where Zora is in her sunglasses.
Oh, one of the best shots here.
yeah, there we go. But yeah, so again, in this sequence, this is in Suriname, there we go. So it's in Suriname, and basically in the Vanity Fair article, we get the context that Duncan Kincaid is there. and that he's one of Zora's most trusted men again, that she's getting him to go on this operation with her. And we do get a little bit of extra context around Zora here, which is built on in the article as well, which is the sentence she says about getting people out of places they shouldn't be, and kind of like out of danger. So the whole idea with this person is, I would say, to give you another cinematic reference, she's kind of a mercenary in the vein of Tyler Rake from Extraction, where she's like going in and doing those dirty operations in quite hostile areas. She's quite used to being in war zones and those kinds of places. So that gives you an interesting insight into the character, because we're starting with somebody who isn't ethically pure, if you like. We're starting with a character who has potentially got some grey area to her, and some flaws that I'm sure we might explore more over the course of the film. I was interested, what do you think kind of just about this whole build-up? Because I feel like there is a really strong chunk of this trailer that is just dialogue and narrative that's really reinforcing what we learned in that Vanity Fair article.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the synopsis and everything, it's like, it's spelling it out perfectly. And I just can't believe we got a story trailer like already.
Yeah.
It's typically just like scenes of like action and stuff like that, and some characters, dinosaurs, whatever. Yeah. But this was a full story trailer. So I thought that was pretty awesome that we got that right off the bat. That usually doesn't happen. But the Vanity Fair article, you know, made it kind of clear that like she's trying to change her ways maybe, or do something a little different. And she's got stake in this mission too. So I get the vibe that maybe there's somebody in her family that has like a heart issue or something, and she wants to get that cure or something. You know, I don't know. So
that's a really astute observation, actually. I hadn't even thought of that, but I bet you hang on.
There's got to be like, you know, I think that's the case. I like that this scene is giving me also Kong Skull Island vibes, like that, you know, meeting up with Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson like together in that.
I think Gareth definitely rewatched that film before working on this.
I think so. And I just love it. Like I love the gambling element that these, you know, you get the kind of vibe of like who he is. It's, you know, it's kind of that way we meet like Lando Calrissian a lot in like the Han Solo movie and stuff. It's like, you know, you kind of know what kind of dude this is going to be. So, but I think based off of some of the stuff we've learned about him, I'm having to like retread or backpedal, I guess, more so on like what kind of character I thought he would end up being. So I don't know. I think he just might be like a good dude. That's what I'm sticking with. I think he might just be a good dude. So
I think it's possible. I think, it's going to be interesting to see.
But yeah, anyway, I didn't know if I could see more of him. There he is there. Great shot of him. So let's talk about this though, because on the bottom of the screen, I pulled up the closed caption so we can bring that up just in case. But it says here, he's describing like, oh, how do we get to this place, or what do we do? We go up towards Barbados, avoid government patrol. Yes. And so I was like, I don't know where Barbados is. So I had to like look it up, and I'm like, okay, I figured that's where it was. And it's, you know, it's above Suriname a little bit, you know, I don't know how far, but it's above that. So it's above South America, and, you know, to the right and lower south of like not Costa Rica, Puerto Rico and like Dominican Republic, the Virgin Islands and stuff like that. So it's really far south on the east side of like the US, which to me signals a very different location than ever before.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's always been on the west coast of Costa Rica, right? Like that's where it's always been, hasn't it? Like it's always been over there, because they go to like San Diego, then they go to Northern California, because they're transporting from the West Coast. So the fact that something that we're going to have a production facility in a very different location, even if this is, well, no, it said it was the production facility for the original Jurassic Park. So like, again, with the lore, I'm like, oh my God, John, what are you doing? John Hammond. Like I'm blaming John Hammond. I'm not blaming the writers. I'm blaming John. I'm like,
so I am.
How many places do you make dinosaurs? How many facilities do you have?
I have a theory on this. Can you bring us forward to the shot with 10,000 volts?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know where it is, but let's go ahead a little bit. So, all right. So, yeah, it's around here somewhere, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's just after this shot. Okay,
There you
so
go.
obviously, looking at the fence, this is a classic Jurassic Park fence. You can see the little siren on top of it that the fences on Isla Nublar have, and you can see the danger 10,000 volt sign. So this sets up the fact that this is old infrastructure, but this is very worn and damaged. So that's important to keep in mind as we go through this trailer, okay? So
Yeah.
what I
yes.
think
Oh, yes. Let's talk about that.
Yes. We will come on to it. It's
Yeah.
the next frames. We have a bit more of your favourite man, and then we come on to it. But this is. I feel like you were like, "Who's my favourite man?" I wasn't talking about me, Brad. Don't worry. So as we. So basically, what I'm trying to get at, and I'm really just absolutely butchering this, is I have a feeling that what we're getting here is more of the darker side of Benjamin Lockwood and John Hammond, right? So we know that both of those people started this thing and they continued to experiment and then things went awry. I would not be surprised if things went awry at this facility and they just decided to completely abandon it and not tell anybody about it and just keep it off the books for as long as they could. So I think what you're seeing here is kind of the same theme as the start of the Jurassic Park novel, right? Where you have all of the workers who refuse to say where they're working, what they're doing, etc., etc. I think it's that kind of facility where things went so wrong. Perhaps this was before Wu had even been brought on board by Hammond, that they just thought, do you know what, we're just going to bury it. So I think that kind of explains it. And I like the idea that adds a little bit of a darker character to Hammond, because I think that has always been there to some extent. So this would kind of add to the idea that, again, these are flawed characters who don't learn from the mistakes they make.
Yeah, I've been hoping they don't tarnish like Jurassic Park and everything they built there and Hammond. I've been hoping they don't tarnish it too much. So if there is another island on like the East Coast this time and they abandon it like super early on and they're like, we gotta go to the West Coast where nobody will know that these two things are connected. Like, I don't know. It's kind of wild, especially the fact that they just left InGen on all the stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that obscure. Like, people are going to catch on.
Whoa. Well, we'll circle back to that.
What do you mean? They scratch off half the N, like, so that you don't know?
No.
I wonder what that used to say.
All I'm going to say to you, Mr. Jost,
Okay,
is bear in mind it's a newer, more modern version of the InGen logo.
Okay, yeah, sure. There's a lot going on. Yeah, I can't wait to discuss that. But so whatever's going on here, I have no idea. But like, there was that shot before this too. That was
it looks like just a ton of fences from what I can see.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell, but it does look like you're like looking at like Jurassic World Evolution or something, like you've got your fences.
What that? No. Do you know what that makes me think of? Actually, no, you just zoomed it in. Embryonics Lab.
I don't know, maybe, but it's a massive whatever this is. I don't know if it's like some sort of tunnel system or I don't know, man. It's very difficult to tell what that is.
It's a hyperloop.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, super old fashioned facility with those fences, by the way, were like, there's no concrete, there's nothing. He made a big deal about the concrete and stuff in Jurassic Park, but he's just like, this
is clearly where he learned it from.
Yeah.
Right?
He's like, this is just dug right into the grass. I don't know where he got that accent from. But I figured this moment is probably one that you dug a little bit here is the
So I find this is really interesting because this is just a super nerdy alternate reference, but that is a fictional gun. looking at that
Figured.
crate, I think it's a fictional tranquilizer rifle because it looks very similar to a Vector, which is a submachine gun, a Chris Vector. But I've probably just got us demonetized with that gun knowledge. But it's not a Vector, and she's quite clearly loading up syringes. So this, having like dino capturing gear that is fictional, is not untoward for Jurassic, because although they look very realistic, even the dart guns in Jurassic World were created by the props department and aren't actually real tranquilizer rifles.
I know our faces are in the way on the stream version of this, but like the guy's wearing he's looking like Muldoon in this outfit here. But you do get a shot of like somebody here somewhere actually like there. I can't get it. It's too fast. But anyway, man, look at this movie, dude. It's beautiful.
Dude, it looks so good.
And this boat, I just tend to jump around all over the place, but we see a vehicle later on in this trailer, and we've seen it before in some images, but like I kind of wondered like, oh, where does that come from? Like, what's the deal with that? Maybe they just pull up to this island and like, you know, the hole opens up or the front, and then like a car comes driving out of it. It doesn't seem like that's the case.
Do you want me to? No. Do you want me to upset you? Actually, really thinking about this chronologically, I think that the sequence at the end of this trailer is from the third act of the film, and I'll explain why when we get there.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure which moment you're talking about, but okay, it involves this boat. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. But yeah, so let's keep going,
so you're gonna press play, and then we're gonna pause again immediately. Because this laboratory, so that is a perfect point to pause on. There's a lot to talk about here. Obviously, what the frame before this, you have the InGen logo very clearly in the background of the facility. A lot of this facility is looking very damaged, but the big thing to note here is this is very clearly a modern facility. It is so scientifically advanced compared to Laboratory 03. And actually, I wonder. Oh, go back, Brad. Let me take a look on my screen as well. I think that was the island name underneath the logo.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell what it
there's
says.
There's something there.
Yeah, there's something there. It says laboratory, maybe,
it's
and then it says
03. Yeah,
something. It looks like an S and a Q. Quan. I don't know. Maybe
that's interesting. But yeah, so basically this is clearly an InGen laboratory. We can see the logo is partly faded, like you say, but also what we have here is very, very modern. You know, looking at the experimented upon Velociraptor with the two heads, as an example.
Yeah, these two images, by the way, like you're going back and forth between different scenes. So these scenes are not, in my mind, are not connected in any way.
No, exactly. Yeah, but what this is giving us is a flavor of the facility. But I think there is a very deliberate misdirect here, because it's accompanied with the line of Zora saying this is the facility where they made the creatures for the first Jurassic Park. Okay, fine. I don't think that this raptor, for example, came from the first Jurassic Park. I think that the facility was reactivated when Masrani Global acquired InGen, because this looks incredibly modern. And to the point that you were saying about the vehicles, we have a vehicle that is, to all extents and purposes, a modern Humvee that has an InGen logo on it. We also have a modern military boat that has an InGen logo on it. So the idea that this is something from the 90s just doesn't wash. So I think this has been reactivated at some point. And actually, shout out to Paleo Collector. He made a really good point on my trailer reaction where he commented and said, oh, this lab looks more modern. I wonder if this is the side project that Hoskins referenced in Jurassic World. And that would potentially
ain't no way they're doing that. They didn't do it at all throughout the first 3 Jurassic World movies. There's no way I'm gonna get that wrapped up. Because you know what's funny is I went back and listened to a Jurassic mailbag with myself and Jen, and we were talking about, it was like just before, it was the final mailbag before Fallen Kingdom, and
Yeah.
so we didn't see it at that point. And I was just like, oh, the one thing like I really want them to answer would be like, what's going on with like Hoskins and Wu, and like I think they're going to answer that in this movie. And it still hasn't been like none of those connections, like who's on the phone with who and where's somebody going. None of that stuff really got answered. To have that answered here would be mind blowing, but I just don't see them doing that. So,
but I would argue that Kep is a fan of the franchise anyway. We know that Gareth is, and I think that a lot of people have been very vocal online about the fact that there were a lot of story threads in Jurassic World that were unanswered. And it's when you watch this trailer, it's quite clear that elements of this have been inspired by the fan base, I would say. It's quite clear that there's some choices which are made deliberately because they know they'll be popular. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had thought about using opportunities to further expand upon that.
Well, let me say, I ain't never heard anybody talk about a two-headed velociraptor. That's not a theory I ever heard anybody talk about, but here we are staring at one. So that's the thing. This thing's got two heads, dude. So here's what I'm getting. So I'm gathering that the twist or whatever that I've been wondering and wanting to know about, and I'm gonna tie it in with the sinister secret. All right, so here we go. The sinister secret is like, oh, sorry, I probably should have just went forward a little bit. This place, this facility here, this facility that Jonathan Bailey is getting a glimpse at, he's looking at some old technology that's probably been there for a long time. And like, if you look at, I don't know, if you look at this creature, I don't know what this is that's in here. It could be like a baby version of the monster thing that we see later on. So this is the decades-old sinister secret, is this facility that housed kind of monstrous creatures and stuff. Maybe they're taking that technology and bringing it to the future with Martin Krebs and whatever side project he's working on. Probably. I don't know. Maybe he's not. But whatever this other facility is in the shot before this with the Velociraptor and the two heads is certainly a facility that's got a ton of money into it. It's got a lot of backers. And this is like an egg-shaped pristine thing. So it's either a company today is taking whatever information was found in that island or wherever and trying to use it for the future, or this is a flashback with technology that just doesn't match up with the InGen that we've seen previously. And to me, that's weird. So I have to really see how this plays out because, if this is a flashback, it doesn't jive well with anything.
No, it doesn't. I think it's concurrent to modern day. And I mean, I don't think it will connect to her specifically, but I do just want to make the point that the last time we saw orange incubation tanks, and in fact the only time we've seen orange incubation tanks in the franchise, was Dr. Sar's facility in Chaos Theory Season 2. And we know that Soyana Santos had other facilities across the globe. So I almost wonder if they even revealed that this facility was an InGen facility once, and maybe it was reactivated by dino traffickers or something similar. I don't think they'd bring Soyona back, because I think they would have teased that at this point. But I could see it being an explanation for it, perhaps.
If they're so intent on making this a rebirth, right? And they're not talking about anything really to do with the history outside of like they mention Jurassic Park and they show the banner and stuff. But I think if you were to have little cameos that pop up here or there, that would be perfectly fine. I don't need you to announce Soyana Santos. That would be a great, just like, whoa, look, it's her. Like, oh my God. A lot of people probably wouldn't really get it, maybe, but I think it would be very cool. It would be Marvel-esque in a way. Whatever's going on here is a bit confusing. So I don't know. I
do just want to say the aesthetic of this is so alien and so Weyland Yutani as well. Like,
I've never seen it, but
so modern.
It seems like what it would be from what I've seen.
Cool.
I know. Go ahead. Bye. See ya.
Wait,
yeah.
I'm not. Are you talking? Hold up. You need to pause this. Pause this, Brad. Are you talking the original Alien?
I saw that one.
Okay, we're fine then. We're all good.
Okay.
Continue.
All right, we're good. All right. So let's move on because I'm sure we'll circle back at some point. But the field returns.
Well, I'm going to get you to pause it after here because this is just absolutely gorgeous. Those two men right there. That shot.
Yeah, they are.
Picture
That's true.
with the Quetzalcoatlus and the waterfalls. I was talking to somebody who said like these screenshots are starting to feel a bit more like The Lost World, and then when I saw this in the trailer, I was like, "Oh my god, this is the Lost World novel."
Yeah, I could definitely see that some stuff coming from that, or some vibes at least, for sure. It's very, very good. Oh man, and I love how intense he comes off, Jonathan Bailey, in this trailer. He's not as chill as I thought he would be because of like how he acts in Wicked. He's like such a smooth and cool dude, and then here he is like he's like kind of got Malcolm-esque like sarcasm and like snark to him, where he's like, sure, if you want to go up there, you can, but there, you're gonna have flying carnivores the size of an F-16, and it's like he's so funny in that regard. So, but it's interesting because like he sounds very serious and deliberate in his delivery and everything that you see here in the trailer, but in that Vanity Fair article, he mentioned like he like maybe doesn't take all the precautions necessary. So I find that interesting. So we'll see how that pans out. I don't know if he just means he didn't tie down the rope correctly or what, but I'm loving his quick evacuation out of this facility here, this temple. And by by see that? Oh, good. So good. Can we talk about this little temple for a second here?
Yes.
Because
so I mean, again, we talk about the idea that perhaps they're calling things back to terms and whatnot. And I should just say to you, so you're aware, I can't hear you whenever you play the trailer because it's so loud. So just keep that in mind if you're talking to me.
Dude, there's absolutely no sound playing on this end. So I don't know why you're even getting the trailer sound.
That's why I was like stopping whenever you were playing.
Dude, unreal, because it's not checked through to play through, so that's odd.
So there's a couple of interesting things here. The first, before we talk about the temple itself, is the fact that I think we see a juvenile Ketz. I could be wrong, but that really looks like a juvenile.
The one that flies in
inside the nest.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like a juvenile to me.
I could see that.
I might be wrong, but it just looks quite like smaller than the ones we've seen before. But I think this temple, I mean, it really is just a callback to other iconography in the franchise. Like, we know that there's always been this connection between Jurassic and ancient tribes. We also know that they've said that this film is taking inspiration from Indiana Jones. And I think that's really where that kind of shines through here, right, with this idea of this ancient tribe. So it's not necessarily something that's new for Jurassic, but it's cool to see it. And it's cool to see a location that was once something else turned into a dinosaur nest. I just always like that kind of stuff because I think it's a really cool way of adding layers of meaning to it. So I'm quite excited to see this and to see the set piece here because it looks really good.
What I find interesting, and I don't know how interesting it actually is, but I just love the set design here, and the mouth of the cave is quite literally a mouth. It's got teeth on the top and the bottom of it. Like, that's super cool.
And also, how good does this look compared to the physical set? Because we've seen photos of the set from this. It was on like Google Maps photos from Sky Studios, and this looks like it fits so well with the rest of the CGI around it. But also, what I was going to say is I can't remember his name, but the other member of the team, I have a feeling he dies here because the fact that it pauses on like him, and the Ket's then like looking up at him before the shot cuts, I think that the Ket sees him and just pounces at him.
Wait, is this Jonathan Bailey or is that somebody else?
That's Jonathan Bailey falling, and then here we go.
Well, I thought it was
there with the guy in the
but yeah, this is different because this outfit is not the outfit that goes out the door.
Let's watch it. Play it again.
But it is him. Yeah, I guess I don't know. It just didn't look like the same outfit. It's definitely him getting pulled out, but that outfit did not look the same. But let's talk for a second about.
You just paused in midair. Nice.
Let's talk about Avengers Endgame for a second.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Because what do you think happens here? You know, is she able to?
You have to make a sacrifice to unlock the final encounter with the mutant dinosaur.
Yeah, so she's able to hopefully save Jonathan Bailey here and herself.
Yeah.
Hopefully they both make it out. But I just love this. This is a very cool moment. We see this kind of moment a lot in movies. But...
Like, I'm really hoping they make it a trope of her character that she just starts calling him Hawkeye for some reason. Like, he's got an eye for the Quetzalcoatlus. So she's like, okay, Hawkeye. And then when he goes over the edge, she's like, Hawkeye, hold on!
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be that on the nose. Maybe they, like, name that cat's Hawkeye as it flies in.
Yeah.
These things are like hawks. They've got great eyes. That's what she says. Again, here we got some more beautiful shots of a place. Yes. I don't know if it's the same place or not, but it's beautiful. Yeah.
So we have Duncan and then... So pause here, actually. Yes. Because this gives us an interesting sense for the narrative of the film. So this, I think, is the second act leading into the third, the encounter with the mutant, I think. Because Henry Loomis is now with the family. So we know that this family is stranded on this island, and that's all we know about them, right? We don't know anything else. But you can see here that he's with the family. So at some point they've made it to the family and they've now joined up with them. There's the next shot, if you press play again. Hold on, I didn't see the raptor shot there.
Yeah, can we talk about the raptor shot? Yeah. Please don't say the raptors.
We'll come back to the raptor shot. We'll come back to the raptor shot in 1 second.
Aww.
Just keep playing. And pause on the next one. So you can see very clearly in this shot that there's other civilians in the background who aren't part of Zora's team. So this confirms that at this point they've met the family, I think. So that's really important context. So we know that they meet the family, and when they get to the family, they then have the encounter with the mutant, because obviously you can see its arm on the right-hand side. So this is why I think this is in the second act, because then in the final scene when we get there, the family is also there as well. So just keep that in mind for now when it comes to the narrative of this film. Now let's go back to the raptor shot for you.
All right. I'm interested in the fact that there's like so many people. There was like 7 people there on that dock, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, please don't say the raptors. You can
tell I've really looked at the details in this.
Oh, I just missed the raptor shot. But yeah, dude, seeing the raptor feet here. What do we think? 2 heads, 1 head. What's it going to be?
I don't think the 2-head one will actually come out. I think it will just be normal raptors.
This looks like it could be like the old broken down facility or something, because you got water on the ground.
Yes, I was going to say it's flooded. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's interesting. I'm curious to see what kind of role they play, because this is literally the only shot in the entire trailer that hints at raptors. So I'm really interested to see what kind of role they play. Yeah.
Yeah. But I love it. He's very concerned, very serious. He definitely feels like he's giving Malcolm vibes in like The Lost World.
Yeah. So here in these moments going ahead, we then get the moments with the family looking towards presumably the mutant. We then get Duncan drawing the flare, illuminating the mutant.
pulling a
I have to
Malcolm.
admit, this is if we were swearing, I would call this an ugly something, because it is just an absolute abomination. You're right that he's pulling a Malcolm. I could see him dying because he is being portrayed as a good character, and this just doesn't look like the kind of creature you would survive this kind of encounter with. But I almost feel like it's a cop out because we've seen Duncan holding the flare already in one of the first promo pictures and looking quite terrified. And now we've got this sequence here as well. And we get Zora screaming his name in the trailer. So I almost feel like they wouldn't want to give away a death. But maybe there's going to be so many in this film that they're not that concerned. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that would be interesting if there were. I mean, like, I would imagine, you know, at least most of the team, maybe outside of Dr. Loomis and Zora, like, probably get killed off here. And then, of course, the family, I think the family's probably fine. Maybe the dad or something like that. Because that would be a very different take than, like, say, for instance, like, what's his name? Oh, my God. Man, I can't even think of his name. Kirby, Paul Kirby. Like, you know, he sacrifices himself, like, you know, to with the Spinosaurus, but he actually survives, and you know they pull the whole like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade moment. But let's talk about this creature here because they described it in the Vanity Fair article as like Rancor meets Xenomorph meets T-Rex.
Yeah.
And I'm not even seeing T-Rex, but I'm seeing seeing Rancor and Xenomorph head. Like that's what I'm seeing 100%. And this thing is weird. It's massive. It's kaiju. It's something else completely. It's not very Jurassic from what I can tell so far. Right. And I can't believe they gave away so much of this creature, to be honest. I thought it would I thought if they left it at just the hand, you know, stomping down like some sort of gorilla, you know, like that, I thought that would have been fine. And I'd be like, whoa, what is that thing? But the fact that they actually reveal the face multiple times here, it's typical Universal, I guess. But
well, I mean,
very
if you look
surprising.
At that Vanity Fair article feels like a play-by-play of the whole film. So I'm not surprised at all at this point. It is just seemingly what Universal do. If you go through to the next shot after this one, which is a kind of blink and you miss it, not that shot. So after we get a new era, there is then, the car. So we've seen the car before in some of the preview photos. But again, just look at the environment around the car. Look at that gate. Look at that road. Look at the fencing. This is quite clearly a more modern facility, or at least if you look at the left where there's a little bit of rot or rust on that structure, it's an older facility that has been retrofitted. So I think it's really just important to keep that in mind.
So is this going to end up being Fallen Kingdom, like all over again, in a way where it's like Eli Mills wants us to go to this island to go get something, and then instead of taking the dinosaurs with him, they just leave them all there, and they just reutilize this facility that has been here. So I could see, you know, this guy probably set up an adjacent facility next to an old one or something, and that definitely makes a lot of sense. And I had said it, and too bad I released it, but I was like, it seems like a firm confirmation that we're getting flashbacks. But I was apprehensive at the same time because I'm like, this doesn't look like flashbacks. Nothing about this feels old or anything. It just looks brand new. So it's pristine.
I think you're on the money. But I don't think this is somebody setting up a facility on the island as it is in the current day. My interpretation of it is this is Jurassic World on the island. So I think that when Masrani Global purchased InGen, they would have been made aware of this island. Like maybe they uncovered some record somewhere that hadn't been hidden away that showed that there was this facility here. So naturally they went to see what they could uncover there. Because if you look at this vehicle, I mean, there's photos out there that show that it has the Jurassic World logo on it. Not the, like, it doesn't say Jurassic World, but it has the Rex, and it also has the InGen logo.
Yeah.
So it has to still be connected to InGen. So
Let me ask you.
I think it's clear that they came back to this island at some point.
Did you watch Skeleton Crew?
Yes.
So, you know, in Skeleton Crew, the Star Wars TV show, there's this planet called Aten, which has been operating and doing its work, its grand, you know, glorious work, whatever, for however long, kind of like blindly. Is there a chance that, like, you know, Mizrani's like, hey, you guys don't get any communication. You guys just have to work here. And these InGen workers have been working there for 15 years now. Like, and then the people arrive on the island and are like, wait, what? Oh, the park's gone? Oh, the island blew up? Oh, wait, all the dinosaurs are in the Americas and around the world. Wait, what? What are we doing? Is that I don't think that's a possibility.
I don't think we're going that far, no.
But like, that is interesting, though, that maybe there could be a Jurassic World centric facility, a Jurassic World era facility that, you know, again, was maybe abandoned or something. But the fact that it's so pristine is weird, though.
What is quite interesting, if you go on to the next shot as well, I hadn't noticed this until I paused it to look at it, but in that shot of the corridor, before Zora with her gun, there is a ladder on the left-hand side that is very similar to the kind of ladder that we see in the bunker in Fallen Kingdom. And also, if you look on the right through the doorway, the wall has got the same kind of line texturing that bunker had. So there is almost some similar design language here in terms of that kind of structure work.
If you say so. Sure. Yeah, I can see the ladder. That's about all I can see. But the line structuring, yeah. Okay.
So on your right through... Oh, well, you've paused it at a different frame than I have, so that's why you can't see it. If you need to go back a tiny bit. There, off.
Dude, it's very hard to pause it on, like, the iPad. I don't know.
Let me... Wait, hold on.
Oh, you mean like right there, with the pipes and stuff like that?
Yes, that looks like the kind of line designs that were in the side of that emergency bunker. So I think it's clear that this is, again, InGen architecture.
Which the emergency bunker was a Jurassic Park era, though. So we have that. But yeah, I do like this underground facility thing. I think this is kind of cool. I don't know what it is or where it's going to lead to, but I had kind of hoped when they said, like, oh, what sequence are they going to pull from the novels? I was like, oh, maybe it'll be this, like, underground tunnel, man-made structure that raptors have thrived in or something. But I don't know.
Dude,
maybe.
I'd love that. Give us the geothermal facility.
We don't need to talk about this shot, right?
Before we come on to that, there is a shot of Zora going down the corridor as well.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting to note that up until this point, we think we've seen tranquilizer rifles, but at this point, she's using live ammunition. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we don't get to... I don't want to see the other side of that, really. You know, we've only really seen, like, one or not even a lot of deaths, really. Like, the only one that stands out is Kelly killing the Velociraptor.
Yeah.
Nothing else is really standing out outside of, like, a dinosaur killed another dinosaur or something. But yeah, to have another human do that or shoot one, I would hope we would kind of steer clear of that a little bit. But man,
so
we're getting some classics here now.
Yeah, so the Dilophosaurus, it's cool to see it back because we haven't seen that rumoured at all, so that was quite nice to see it appear. I think this is Luna Blaze's character. Mm-hmm. You can see we've got some of the rafts to the right, so this could be where the raft sequence begins. I love how I pronounce raft. I've never noticed that until just now, but yeah.
But, you can see some of the raft. Wait,
this could be where that sequence starts. But if you go into the next shot as well, it's clear that Luna Blaze's character is having one hell of a time because when we get the new T-Rex, she is stood to the...
Jumping the gun.
Oh, okay.
Jumping the gun,
Okay.
man. Can we bring it back to the raft? Because first off, I don't see the raft. I see like a blanket or something. And what in the world
Dude, what's under the blanket?
Dude, I don't even know, man. I don't know. Like, what is this thing that I'm looking at?
Right,
what is happening
Press
here?
and pause very quickly. Press and pause very quickly. Okay, do it again.
Oh, dude, come on.
Dude, how do I keep doing this? I've got the frame where the Dilo's frills are down, and you can very clearly see the curve of the boat.
That's before. I can't press and pause before. Oh man, now we're ahead. Now see, look, you messed up the whole thing.
Do you want me to just open Facebook and send you what I'm looking at?
No, I see it now. I don't know.
Yes.
Sure, that could be like a very small looking boat. I don't know. But I'm more concerned with what is this other thing above it, like with the yellow striping and like what is this shed thing? What
I feel like it's just some funky design.
I don't know what it is.
Say again is
I was getting heaves from this, to be honest. Like I thought this was like a Godzilla versus Kong like heave. It does
not feel like in-gen design language, does it?
No, it feels very different. And there's some sort of like design logo-y kind of things behind the tree there, which I can't really see what's going on, but it looks like almost like a lantern or something like that. No, I'm not seeing a locust. But yeah, I don't know what's going on here or what this spot is, but it's interesting to say the least. And we're getting Dilophosaurs. They were in that boat sequence in the book, right? So So
it makes sense that it could be the start of that boat sequence. And then, like I say, we get our Rex. This is clearly the boat sequence again, because we've got Luna on the left-hand side. Obviously, the Rex with the stripes and everything. I just think it's looking really good to me. It's a lot beefier, which is cool. But it still feels closer to the in-gen one.
I feel like it just kind of just looks like Rexy to me. Like like it looks like this was taken out of the beginning. What?
Don't worry, continue.
Oh, okay. It looks like it was taken out of the beginning of like Fallen Kingdom or something. So, outside of the striping and the pattern and stuff like that and the coloring, but like it looks just basically like the same design. And I think you can maybe say like maybe it looks like Bull T-Rex-ish or something like that when it's in the water a little bit. But yeah, it just feels so familiar. When I first saw the image, I was like, oh, that's just an old image. And I was like, oh, wait, I did a double take. And I was like, no, that's actually a new picture when the pictures came out the other day. But yeah, so it's very good looking, though. It looks really, really cool.
Yeah. I have to admit, this next shot is one of my favorite shots of the entire thing. It
feels like it would be.
So this is why I say to you, I think that there's like some element of this is something that happened post Jurassic World or before Jurassic World even, because when you look at the suits, they are modern. They are not suits from the 90s. They are pretty contemporary. So it's clear that this is happening recently. I don't think you would have the dispatch team putting on this kind of equipment unless Krebs knows about this and he's going to recover it. But I don't see that. I just don't see that. I feel like we've been there and done that. So I do think this is a flashback to whatever happened with this creature.
So if you're watching the video, I go out of frame because I'm like, I was trying to analyze this picture like up close on my iPad. So I go over here for a second. But yeah, I'm looking closely at it and it's wild, man. Like, yeah, everything about this says it's futuristic style. It's smooth textures and curves and stuff like that. No hard like surfaces and stuff. It's interesting. You got the InGen logo on the back of the helmet. You've got InGen logo written out, on the bottom left over there. I was trying to read some of that other stuff. It didn't really seem to make much sense other than the word caution or whatever. But yeah,
interesting thought here.
Go ahead.
So I'm just looking at this, and when it goes through, it like flashes, and obviously there's the red color. I wonder if this is similar to that moment with the locust in Dominion, where they're trying to burn it and then it breaks out.
Maybe that could be. And could this be somebody like a Martin Krebs or something like that, hitting the button there to like burn the evidence or kill the evidence or something? I don't know. And the guy with it, like, I was getting vibes of like Godzilla 2014 here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, is this what's his name and his wife, you know, on the other side in the nuclear facility? Is it something
Bryan
like that?
Cranston.
Bryan Cranston, yeah. Is it something like that where it's like, oh no, you're in there, you're not supposed to be in there? Or is it like, I've trapped you in there and you're gonna have to suffer the consequences? But
Yeah.
whatever the case is, I just can't believe what I'm looking at. Like, this is a monster.
It feels
like,
it feels more alien than Jurassic, 100%.
Especially, yeah, the technology, the everything about it feels alien. So futuristic. Okay, we get it. It seems like it's current day. Let's say, for an instance, it is a flashback. If that's the case, again, it doesn't line up with anything InGen would have had in the 90s. And they, I guess if they're, I don't know, they're decades old, you know, sinister secret was like a misdirect in a way, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like if this were a flashback that kind of like retcons a little bit of InGen, that would be a little weird. So I'm hoping that it's not the case, that it's not a flashback, but who knows? I don't know.
It's an interesting one, yeah. So as we go forward, we then get a few underwater sequences, which are clearly, again, just the raft sequence. We then get, obviously, Jonathan Bailey. And then this is the end scene I was referencing. So as we go through this, and feel free to play this a little bit, Brad, because what I want people to see is that when you get into the close-ups on the boat, it's very clear that the family are there with Zora and the others. And also, this looks like a vehicle that goes alongside the Jeep. So what I think has happened here is they've survived the mutants, they're getting to the boat to get back off the island, and I think this is them getting attacked as they try to get off the island.
You could be right, but I'm going to go the opposite direction and say this is more in the beginning or middle or something like that, wherever they find these people. Because look at that guy's shirt. Look at that guy's shirt.
True.
He hasn't been through anything.
True.
Nothing. Not a single thing.
They might have had clean clothes on the boat. I'm gonna
Maybe.
hit you. I'm just gonna give you one other piece of food for
Luna Blaze.
One other piece of food for thought, Brad. One other piece of food for thought.
Okay.
Where is Duncan Kincaid in this entire sequence?
Don't know. Luna Blaze is clothes. Perfectly clean. Okay?
Yeah.
And the fact that the synopsis said something about like their boat was capsized by marauding dinosaurs or marauding aquatic dinosaurs. That's what we see here. That's what we see in this sequence. Yes. So I think this is just after they're capsized. I don't know why they're not wet. Maybe they were able to jump from one boat to the next and they didn't get wet. Maybe that's the case, but I think this is directly after their boat gets capsized. So I think, are we looking at, these are definitely the same boats in all these shots, right? Like it's that one with the red.
Yes. Yeah. It's the one we see at the start as well. Yeah. It's interesting to note that Krebs is here as well. He's, in the background just there. I just get the feeling that the fact that like Zora is just down to a t-shirt at this point, and the fact that Duncan Kincaid's not there, it makes me think that this is towards the end when they're trying to escape. Because even in the wide shot, you can see that Duncan's not there, unless he's the one driving the boat, I suppose, which could be possible. Yeah. I do just want to touch on the fact that the Spinosaurus, when it goes up onto the side of the boat, it is ugly.
Mm-hmm. This shot here is very reminiscent of Fallen Kingdom as well, with the guy on the ladder and either the T-Rex or the Mosasaurus did that shot. But yeah, let's go to that. Oh, I just missed it. It's so difficult. But yeah, dude, it's hideous. That big giant like ear hole thing that's on the side of its head,
Yeah.
and like it just looks crusty and old, and like yeah, it doesn't. It's not my Spinosaurus. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Look, I'm very happy that
How
there's
mad are
Spinos.
you going to be if this is the Hammond Collection Spinosaurus?
Dude, furious. Absolutely furious. Look, I said this in my recording that like it's very cool that we're getting Spinosaurus back. And as cool as these do look, they do look pretty awesome and scary. And the fact that there's going to be just 3 of them, they're all going to look the same. You know, they're all going to look generally the same. It's not going to be like the identifiable Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3. That makes me a little bit sad. To finally get a Spinosaurus back here, and it's a completely different redesign and everything. That does make me a little sad, but I do think this looks very, very cool and creepy and weird, and I love this scenario that we're in. The fact that 3 Spinos are helping out this mosasaur. They're like a tag team crew that are like
Just being
a bunch of
circled, it's so
pirates.
cool.
They're just pirate dinosaurs, and it's awesome. It's very, very cool. And yeah, they the mosasaur here comes out of the water. And again,
The thing
completely different mosasaur than we saw before.
I have seen a very fair... So there's another argument for this being later in the film, I think, as well, actually, which is somebody made a very fair point of why would this mosasaur stay around the island? Why would it not have swam somewhere else? So I almost wonder if they're locked in, like when they go into the island, if the boat gets locked into a lagoon or something, and then they have to unlock the gate to get back out, and that unleashes the animals. Because it is a very valid point. Why would it still be there?
Yeah, I mean, I guess something about the shots here with the boat look different. Like, I don't know, something about the front of that. I guess it's still got that plank thing up front, but whatever. Like, this shot just looks so primitive compared to that other boat. But I guess it's the same one. I don't know. It just looks so different than the.
Well, wait, go.
Yeah,
go back,
it's got the same tower and everything up top. If you look at the radar or whatever.
Hold up a second. I'm just gonna look on my screen as well.
It seems to be the same. It's got that little crow's nest thing.
Yeah, you can
it's
see
the same.
You can see the cage at the back. Yeah.
But something about the back and the front look very different. Like, this looks like it could just be like some old vessel, and the other one looks like
It's
cool
not
ship
really
thing.
like any kind of modern boat that I've seen. Because I spent some time trying to analyze it when we first saw it in some filming pictures as well, and it's not. It's the closest thing I can think of is like a military patrol boat.
I do not see.
The thing I will say. The thing I will say is interesting as well is if you look at look at Zora when she gets the weapon ready. So the thing I find really interesting is, again, this is another example of them not using like modern technology. This is fully a made up gun of some description, a made up tranquilizer rifle or something, which I just find really interesting because the design of that tranquilizer rifle especially, it's got the... No, do you know what that is on the end of it? That's the DNA extractor. So they're trying to get the DNA from the mosasaur.
Yeah.
I've just clocked that.
That's why like I think this is towards the beginning of the film somewhere where they're like they're trying to do their mission of extracting this mosasaur DNA, and then they come across this family that's stranded and also getting attacked, and then they simultaneously try to save the people and also get the DNA all at the same time. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Do you think that their boat gets sunk then and they get stranded on the island?
Yeah. Yeah, why not? And maybe there's a chance that
challenge to swim away from a mosasaur and free Spinosaurus.
Yeah, well, maybe they can like get the boat moving quick enough where they get close enough to shore and then they're too shallow or something. But the Spinosaurs are kind of hard to contend with there. I don't really know. But Yeah, it would be cool though if at some point like they end up kind of separated from the family, and the family has like, like Duncan and like somebody else, and then the other people have, it's like they kind of mix their groups a little bit. And one of the kids is with the other people or something. I don't know, but
That would be cool to see.
that's the entirety of the trailer.
That is.
Yeah, man.
I feel like we've done a really good job doing a through by through cover of that. I'm really excited, dude. I think that the lore inconsistencies definitely have the potential to be problematic if it's not explained well within the actual film, which I am a bit nervous that it won't be, because it would be a lot of exposition. But I'm going into it optimistic. I think because it's a new creative team working on it, I'm just going into it and saying I'm going to have faith in them until they prove me wrong. So right now I'm like, I've got faith in this and I think it's going to deliver.
Yeah, no, I totally have faith in this crew. I mean, I just heard that the movie that David Koepp came out with, Presence, was apparently not very good. He wrote that movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh no, not too thrilled to hear that. But writers can go up and down. There can be a lot of things in play that make a movie not very good. So I still have faith in David Koepp, obviously, because he wrote some really great stuff in the past. I have a ton of faith in Gareth Edwards and the acting crew on this movie. Like, I have full faith in them. So I think, and visually, it looks stunning. I've liked the past 3 movies. I will like this one. I think it just, it's going to be one of those things. Maybe, some movies recently where, it's like a recent Star Wars movie or Marvel or something. Sometimes you have to kind of like watch it a few times to fully be into it or whatever. And you're like, okay, maybe I do like this movie now. So maybe that's going to happen here with some of those designs and the creatures and things. Or maybe it'll be fully explained in like a great way that I'm like, oh, I love this idea. But I just have to let it play out. Like, I don't know. Like, I just got to see what happens. Because right now I'm apprehensive on some aspects, but love a majority of it. So I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
Like, it looks really good. It looks really good from everything I can tell.
It looks awesome, yeah. And I think there's a really good note to leave it on there, actually, which is exactly what you say, which is we're in this now. We've got our first trailer. We just need to let this play out and wait until July to see this film, and then make our opinions once we've seen it.
So you heard it here. No more podcasts until July. I guess that's we're not going to talk about it anymore. No more talking about Rebirth. That's it. The trailer came out, so we're done, I think.
Yeah. Well, there's probably going to be another trailer.
No, we
Dude,
got the story trailer.
Can you imagine? I genuinely see a world, actually, because they did this with Fallen Kingdom, where we get a couple of new shots in the Super Bowl clip.
I could see that for sure. And we got to keep our eyes peeled for like international trailers and things like that.
Yes.
Even during the Super Bowl, they tend to differentiate like some international trailers, and you're like,
Right,
oh, there's things I've never seen.
Recording this Sunday.
Maybe. I'm happy I didn't have to record for the Super Bowl. Like, I'm glad we got that out of the way. I am surprised. Yeah. I do imagine it will still be there to some extent. But I'm very surprised that it didn't drop. And even Fantastic Four was like, no, we're going to do ours early. It's been a very fun week for trailers. Fantastic Four looks fantastic. Yes. This looks fantastic. I can't wait to see what else happens. So there's going to be a lot of good movies, I think, on the horizon. July's looking incredible. Let's see what else is out there. But thanks, Tom. Thank you for doing this. What do you got? You got anything going on? What are you doing? These days?
At the moment, I am behind on my schedule for Tales Season 3, but I have edited 4 out of 6 episodes. So
wow. You still didn't call me. Like, where's my guy that dies? When am I being him?
He has a silent death. But yeah, I'm at the point where, to be honest with you, I was in a little bit of a like Jurassic lull, so I was finding it quite hard to do the edits because they're extensive work. I sit for like 2 or 3 hours pulling all of the episode together. So I finally got my mojo back with it, which has been quite good. And I just need to go back through and sort of see if there's any sound effects I want to add that I've missed in those first 4 episodes. I've got some last minute lines to slot back in, and then I'm planning on working on the last 2 episodes this weekend into next week. So yeah.
Wow. It's going to be here before we know it. I can't wait, dude. I
Yeah.
can't wait to hear it.
Hopefully before Rebirth, if everything goes according to plan.
We'll see. We just announced that there's no more episodes, so I don't know where you're going to put them only on YouTube. So everybody, when he posts them, go look at them. But yeah.
Life will not be contained. Life breaks free, it expands to new territories, and crashes through barriers painfully, maybe even dangerously. But well, there it is. There it is. I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
That'll do it for another episode of the Jurassic Park Podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you for listening to this show and sharing in this love of the Jurassic franchise. And look, I mentioned it earlier in the episode, but, this is something that we love so much. And I mentioned our live stream and how kind of contentious that was. But, if you're here, if you're listening to this show, I'd assume you really love the Jurassic franchise. I love the franchise, and I'm here to defend it till its dying days, whenever that may be, or mine. But I'm here to stand up for it and to give some hope and positivity here. And I love the movies, whether everybody else loves them or not. They're my jam. I've had such a blast over the past 10 years discussing the Jurassic World trilogy and everything else. But man, this, and especially kind of after this episode, I think, is when I started to find out, what are people thinking about the movie? How contentious is the fandom right now? And I would say it feels, kind of mixed and varied, but I think a lot of people out there in general public are really, really excited for this and really interested in finding out, what is that creature? What is that thing in that containment? There's a lot of really cool questions, I think, surrounding this movie. And man, it's gonna stir some pots for sure. But I think, don't let anybody sway you. If you want to love this movie, just love it unabashedly. Have a great time with it. Don't care about, anybody laughing or anybody feeling a certain way. This is up to you and your thoughts and how you think this franchise is and should be, or whatever you want it to be. I'm cool with that, and that's what we're doing here. So, we may not always agree with everybody's thoughts and feelings, but it's a safe space here, and we're gonna have a great time discussing Jurassic World Rebirth. So I hope you can join us on this journey for the next few months here, leading up to Jurassic World Rebirth. And of course, let me just say thank you to Tom in this lengthy outro here. Huge thank you to Tom for doing this episode with me ASAP, as soon as that trailer came out. And we had, like I said, just a blast talking, as we always do. And I love Tom. He's always good at pointing out details and being apprehensive about some things, but just loving this franchise in so many ways. So huge shout out to Tom, and for taking the reins, like he mentioned in the intro. He's like, hey, do you mind if I was like, dude, we're going. It's happening. Let's go. So thank you to Tom for that. And I wanted to end things here on a review over on Apple Podcasts. So thank you so much to anybody and everybody who's ever left us a review over there. We really, really appreciate it. This one is, this one's from Todd's Kids. I believe you've left a review before, and maybe this is an update or whatever. But it says here, the hype is real, 5 stars. And I like the comment here. It says, holy heck, the Rebirth trailer looks good. This might save the franchise. Wow. I love hearing that. I love that enthusiasm. That's inspiring enthusiasm right there. This might save the franchise. Whether it needed saving, that's up for debate. But I think there's a lot of thoughts and feelings about how this franchise has gone over the past 10 years. And hey, you never know. This might save the entire thing. But thank you so much for that review, Todd's Kids. Really, really appreciate it. And if you want to be like them and go ahead and leave us a review, you can do so on Apple Podcasts. Leave us that 5-star review. And whether it's 5 stars or not, I will go ahead and read it here on the show. And you can also do so over on Spotify. I don't know if you can write reviews. I think you can just like leave a star review. But I know you can comment on all those episodes. So thank you to everybody over there who's been commenting on those episodes. But that about does it. So this has been a nice, fun episode. It's a breath of fresh air, I think, to have Rebirth's trailer out in the wild finally. So thank you so much to everybody out there listening. Make sure to let us know. Oh, and I didn't mention it, but please, if you want to get your thoughts out there, please let us know. I might add this into the beginning just to kind of put a preamble. Maybe I'll do that in the beginning. This is me thinking out loud. But please let us know what you think about the trailer. What are your thoughts now about this movie for Jurassic World Rebirth? So you can do so by giving our voicemail line a call, 732-825-7763. Or you could record a voice memo on your phone, wherever, on your computer, and you can email those over to us. Try to keep them, somewhat shortish. I think the voicemails are like about 3 minutes, so if you want to keep it in that range, that's fine. But you can email those to Jurassic Park Pod, P-O-D, at gmail.com, JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. And you can also go to our website, JurassicParkPodcast.com. We do have a contact form there, so if you want to write something to us, you can do so there. We'd prefer the voicemails, so that way we can play it and you can hear your own voice here on the podcast, and everybody else can as well. So do whichever one of those works for you. I'd greatly appreciate it. And we will put those in an upcoming episode. I'm thinking maybe next week if we can get enough. So let me know, what do you think about the trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth? But as always, a huge thank you to our podcast host, Podomatic, for giving us a place to upload the podcast each and every week. That's Podomatic.com for all things podcasting out there. And as always, please, everybody out there, stay safe and know that you matter. Your thoughts and feelings and who you are. Please be kind to each other, and let's continue to fight for representation, change, and equality in the Jurassic franchise, but more importantly, outside of it, in the real world. Let's make some change out there, and let's make this world a better place. I'm gonna go ahead and hand things off to myself for the outro. Take it away.
Saddle up, let's get this movable feast underway.
Continue the conversation with us on Threads and Instagram. Watch our content on TikTok and YouTube. Find us on the web at JurassicParkPodcast.com. You'll find today's episode show notes, articles, contributor bios, and so much more. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, our website, and wherever else podcasts are found. So please be sure to follow along and share with your friends, family, and fellow Jurassic fans. If you haven't already, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We will read your Apple reviews at the end of most episodes, so be sure to spare no expense. Don't miss our Wednesday night live streams, toy hunts, reviews, in-depth bonus content, gameplay, event and theme park coverage on our YouTube channel. If you want to get a hold of us or participate in the Jurassic Mailbag, you can fill out the contact form on our website or send emails and MP3s to JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. Feel free to call our voicemail line at any time to leave us a message or just to say hi. That number is 732-825-7763. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, enjoy.